the things that got you here aren't necessarily the things that will get you there as we think about 2026. So, in today's episode, I'm breaking down the three, what I'm going to call anchored beliefs that are going to help you step into this full embodied entrepreneur coach that I know is necessary for you to have success in 2026. And stick around because the third one, I believe, is probably the most important thing that's going to help you create a consistent client roster in 2026. Welcome to the Best Damn Coach podcast. It's Amanda here. I'm so excited you're diving into this episode. As we are wrapping up 2025, headed into 2026, I want to speak to some of the the brain work, the things I'm seeing right now that are going to benefit how you show up at the end of 2025 and start looking ahead for your 2026. One of the things that I want to just quickly remind you of, if you're brand new to this show, or maybe you've been a listener and you forgot or didn't know, I do have a limited series podcast that is solely focused on helping you get clients. It's literally called How to Get Clients. So if you want a clear plan for 2026 on how to get clients, you want consistency, you don't want the highs and lows, or maybe you have a few clients, but you want a full roster in 2026. You're like, I want to leave my current gig. I would definitely encourage you to go give this limited series a listen. It's 21 episodes. Each episode's less than 12 minutes. Put me on 2x. I'm not offended by that. But the results that our clients are having just from listening to this series or are coming in to get more support through listening this series is gold. And I do not want you to miss out. As I was planning out my end of 2025 content, I was really reflecting on my students, the amazing coaches that I get the opportunity to work with. And I know so much of the time, like, I love strategy. I'm here for strategy. Strategy is important. And like I always say, you can't put whipped cream on poop. And so you can strategy all the things, but if underneath it, there is not a foundation of steadfast, let's say, internal work, a mindset that drives you towards the vision, then unfortunately, I don't think any strategy is going to work for you. And so I thought I would spend today talking about two pieces. Things I'm seeing work and how I'm planning for 2026, but also the internal I'm going to call them three primary anchored beliefs or anchored thoughts that are critical for you to have success in 2026. I sat down to do all of my 2026 planning, and I usually have these fancy slide decks and spreadsheets, and I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. We don't edit out sneezes because I'm a human being and sometimes I sneeze on a podcast. And also, you guys, it's like a giant thunderstorm right now. So you might even hear the thunder in the back, and we're here for it, right? That's real life. But as I sat down to do my planning, I wasn't feeling this vibey bigness and this grandioso, I think, like vision board vibes. And some years I really feel that. And to be frank, other times I don't. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? And actually, what I realized is that I don't actually need a huge plan for 2026. Yes, there are some things that we're strategically doing, but what I am seeing work is a back to basics call. It's back to basics in that instead of all these fancy automations, we're going super high human touch. And yes, there are ways that we can grow and scale this. Instead of lengthy, fancy newsletters, we're going super basic with short, sweet, results-driven newsletters. Instead of focusing on these huge scalable practices, we're going back to basics and like beefing the hell out of our testimonials and testimonial pages and building more case studies. And so I guess I'm just giving you full permission to understand that sometimes having a really crystal clear plan for 2026 doesn't involve fancy slide decks or customization or fancy platforms. It's simply understanding what's working and understand the market, right? We are still in this trust recession that I've been speaking about for a year plus. Now it seems like everybody's talking about it because they're like a little late to the party. Is knowing that, how do we show up differently? I just have brought in 2 new one-to-one clients in the last week of recording this, and both of which when I was like, okay, what are you thinking? Where are you at? Like, oh, I'm just so afraid. I've invested in this thing and I didn't get results. And I was like, what the hell? Why are so many coaches out there not showing up and getting people results and devoted to the outcome of their client? That is what we signed up for. And so we also have to understand that whether you're serving B2B, business to business, or business to client, B2C, that a huge back to basic is just being in the results, constantly assessing how our clients are doing, making sure we have a clear framework, making sure we're pre-assessing and post-assessing, making sure that the thing they wanted is the thing they're getting. And part of that is us, that's our work, and part of that is on them. Right? I can't spoon feed them, go to their house, make them do the work, but I can get really curious about why they aren't doing the work. I can get really curious and ask them questions. And that is what great coaching is about. So as you can tell, I'm super passionate about that. But as you think ahead to 2026, and I don't want to beat this conversation with a stick and record 15 episodes about planning out your 2026. That is not my intention. That is super boring and unnecessary. But what I really want to ask you is, what type of woman will you be as we head into 2026? And what I mean by that is, in order to have success and achieve the thing you want, a full client roster of 10 clients, 5 to 10K months, or maybe you're ready to push to 20K months, the person that can leave their 9 to 5, it's going to require you to do things differently than where you are right now. That is 100% a certainty that I can offer you because I've experienced iterations of this over and over in my business. What I did to start my business was different than what it took me to get $1,000 a month in my business, then was different to 5K, then was different to 10K, then was different to 50K and beyond. And so you have to ask yourself, how am I going to show up differently to achieve the thing that I most desire? So what you're going to see in our business in 2026 is a lot of intimacy. I'm going to be doing frequent workshops that are super intimate. I'm actually just canceled my webinar subscription, not because I'm not still doing workshops, but I actually want faces on with me. You're going to see a lot of high touch. I'm going to be weaving in a new video platform. I am going to be just doing a ton of what I call high organic touch reach out. We are focusing on client success. We are growing the BDC program. We are adding in a consistent weekly tracking tool so my clients can get specific feedback and track the things that are really moving. I've been in a super expansive phase with a lot of clarity around how this market is how the existing coaching industry is impacting coaches. And when I was new, I didn't think about these things. That's why I hope you're here, so you can rely on somebody that's been doing the thing for a while to have these kind of, what I would say, crystal ball predictions. And if you're not thinking about it, then you're behind. So I'm so glad that you're listening. But all of this is anchored into the anchored thoughts and mindset pieces that are going to be critical for your success. So I'm going to go into those. And the thing that inspired these pieces is I'm putting together a new free resource. Literally, I sat down, I recorded a Loom video. It is nothing sexy. That's another thing that I think is really important. No perfection. Get rid of sexiness. Just like give the people what they want. That's what I'm really thinking about. So I sat down to record this Loom, no fancy equipment, shared screens, and essentially I am walking you through the steps of, if I wanted to go from having a few clients to filling my client roster, if I were to do that right now in this time and place, what would I be doing? It's a super comprehensive guide. You do not want to miss out. At the time of this recording, it won't be live yet, but keep an eye out. And as I started recording this, I actually had to scratch and start over because I was like, we can't do any of this work if we don't have these anchored beliefs. And that is exactly what I want to bring in for you. The first belief that you need anchored for 2026 is this thought, and I'm going to call it the I'm not going back belief. So when I started my business, remember, I was a high school teacher. I left that. I had no game plan. I kind of stumbled into entrepreneurship. And once I started getting a taste of it, for me, the language that never permeated my body was, well, if this works out, Or if this doesn't work out, I'll go back to teaching. If this doesn't work out, I'm sure I can find a job. Instead, my anchored belief was this will work out and I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make the tweaks and adjustments and change the variables to make it work. For me, you have to be committed to the process. And the process is the journey of building a business, right? To be an effective coach and run a thriving, profitable coaching business, it takes two key elements: the skill of being an entrepreneur and the skill of being a masterful coach. Those two things cross over, and in the middle, right, we talk about the identity is the best damn coach. And there is a process to both, in that how you start and how you show up in the beginning is going to be very different than how you evolve over time, right? You can't have one toe in. You're going to get one toe in results if that's the case. That doesn't mean you have to freaking burn yourself out. That doesn't mean you need to go balls to the wall. That doesn't mean you need to invest, 100K. It just means internally you've made the authoritative decision, the self-autonomy piece of, I am not going back. Like, I've committed to leaving my job and I am not going back. Right? And I think that transitional place is the hardest. When you have this income that's safe, it's very easy to slide back and be like, oh, but this is safety. And I'm not saying abandon the 9 to 5 and go with coaching without a plan. Definitely not. I love the safety of having both, but it's going to take steadfast commitment in those other windows of time where you're building to make sure that you are committed. The metaphor I give for this is it's just like parenting. What if I was like, I don't know, like, I'm okay with giving 50%. It's, for me, parenting has never been if they're great humans. It's, yes, they will be great humans. And some days it sucks and some days it's amazing. And I'm constantly adjusting my parenting. It won't all be easy, but at the end, I know that because I went all in, it wasn't a if it will work as a parent, if they will be great humans. It's they will be great humans. I'm seeing the fruits of that labor that came from some of the dark, hard days. So business building is for action takers who are committed to the process. And I know that's you. And again, where you start is not going to be where you finish. Cool? So that's anchored belief number 1. It leads right into the next place here, which is your money stuff. So anchored belief number 2 is you have to believe that you're going to make money as a coach, right? You have to believe that success is inevitable. And the reason I bring up the money piece is I talk a lot about this identity struggle that I see sometimes in coaches between this hobby coach, this person that's like, I'm interested, I'm growing, I am great at what I do, I'm brilliant. And yet when it comes to the energetic exchange of finances, they're not open to the possibility of collecting and making money as a coach. And therefore, it reaffirms the cycle of discounted rates, charging, coaching clients for free, which perpetuates a lack of commitment to the process. And so you have to energetically be open to making money in order to be a profitable coach. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck, which is going to, again, pull away the first thing. The commitment to making it work means you will charge for services. And there are so many ways to charge for services. You can focus on volume, lower ticket, higher ticket, lower volume. You can move from one into the next. You can have both. And so there are a lot of coaching certifications and other coaches that really encourage coaching for free. And my answer is you get one. Coach one person for free. And the next person, charge $5 to, charge $100 to. I don't care what low monetary amount it is, but it's getting in the cycle, in the habit, and in the discomfort of asking for an energy exchange between you and the client. And this is critical because if you actually want to make a living doing what you love, coaching, then it's imperative that money is exchanged, right? And that's when it's energy. You're giving something your time services solution framework, your years of experience to create a solution for them and get them a result. And in turn, they are giving you something back, which is money, right? They want something you have and you want something they have. This is how things have worked since the beginning of time. Bartering, right? This is it. Now bartering for you could be the form of money or something else, who knows? But it's actually a key part of the equal energy exchange, because if you've ever done this before, you know that I've seen this time, some great examples that I have had is I have actually bartered services in my business, which I don't do anymore. And what happened was over time, that energy exchange was totally unequal. I always showed up to give my 110%, and the other person didn't show up to repay that often. Or on times where I've seen this happen time and time again for clients is they charge nothing and they're coaching for free, and that client cancels on them. They don't show up. They don't do the work. So money is important because it creates skin in the game. I've even had in the last cohort of the Feel Amazing Naked program, which was my program that I ran in my health and life coaching company before I shut that down years ago. And on the last one, I was like, I just really want to serve a ton of people. I'm going to offer some scholarships. And I created an application. People applied. I selected a few people. And interestingly enough, those people that received the scholarship did not show up. And so I thought, this is interesting, right? And so for me, the dollar amount actually does drive the level of client and the outcomes that they most desire. And so I believe it's critical, right? It's just like buying a purse from Walmart versus buying a Coach or Louis Vuitton bag. You treat them different. It's like buying a brand new car off the lot versus a used car. There are differences energetically because of the exchange level that's happening. And so it's critical for you to be willing to accept money as a coach. And I love you. And this is so important. So there's 2 anchored beliefs. The third anchored belief that I want you to really own for 2026 is I devote time, committed time to my business. It's not a matter of if I get to work in my business. It is, you have to treat it like a real business, just like anything in your life. When you prioritize it, results flow. Where time goes, outcome flows. If I didn't show up and commit time to my children or commit time to my marriage, I would not have the deep connection, results, intimacy, all of the things that exist inside of those relationships. So you can't expect your business to look a specific way if you're not devoting time to it consistently. And it's actually not even about quantity of time, it's quality of time. When I first started building my business, I was still working for a family friend. And so I had a 20-hour a week work week, plus kids, plus I was tutoring, I was coaching CrossFit. I was building my business in the margins like many of you were. So sometimes it was an hour a day. That hour should be then strategic and related to the goals that you have. And my encouragement is front load that time. It's just like fitness. Like if I don't get my workouts in the morning, it's really hard for me to get to it in the evening. It's just like eating well, all the things. Front load creates an outcome that is completely different. And so whether it's 2 hours on the weekend or an hour every day, or you have 4 hours, Monday through Friday, I'm not sure what that is, but you have to show up like you mean it. You are a CEO. No more side hustle talk, no more baby business, no more like playing it small. It has to look and sound different in 2026. And when I was putting this episode together, I was surveying the most successful students in my program right now in the Best Damn Coach. And all of them hold these 3, I would say, anchored beliefs. They're not always easy. There's still resistance to them someday, but they're working to embody them and answer that question, what type of woman are you? Well, I'm the woman that believes I'll make money, that's fully committed. I'm not one toe in, and I make time for my business. I really actually feel like running a coaching business, you don't have to be super smart. You don't have to be the smartest one in the room. You don't have to know business. You don't have to have strategy. You have to build the skill, But truthfully, you have to keep showing up. It is a last woman standing situation. It's a show up consistently discussion. And it's inevitable that you're going to have success then, right? We don't control the time. But if you keep showing up consistently and you tweak and adjust and you become a scientist of your business and you understand how to speak the language, then your success is inevitable. And if you're listening to this episode and you're like, yes, that's the type of woman I want to be, then you should come be in our community, because I will be the one holding you accountable to those things. And I will also be giving you the process and the framework for the strategy piece of knowing how to speak to your client, how to find them, how to get more eyeballs on your business, how to talk to them so they go from prospective premium client to an actual lead, to a paying client, and then how to serve them consistently so they want to renew, so they want to refer clients to you. So if this is something that you want to chat about, I would love to learn more about you and your business and where you are at. My calendar is open right now to support you and talk about some of the amazing bonuses that are happening right now. When you join the Best Damn Coach right now, you're going to get 60 days of one-to-one support with me as soon as you join. This is like my customized 60 days of Voxer support. This is an app where you and I can really drill down on some of the most important elements to get you soaring as you head into 2026. So I'd love to chat more. You can head on over to my calendar at amanda-walker.com/let's chat, LETSCHAT. Grab a time that works for you. I'll give you a call. We'll chat. I'll learn more and see if coaching with me is the best right fit. So no matter where you're at as you end the year, I really want you to ask yourself, like, which one of these 3 anchored beliefs am I maybe a little loose on? I'm missing out on. Maybe it's all of them. You can always reach out to me over on Instagram too, at awalkmyway in the DMs. Tell me what resonated with you. And if this episode spoke to you, then I would love for you to also just share it with a colleague. Let them know, like, hey, you're not alone. You can copy and paste the link, share it in a text message or a group you're in. And of course, if you need anything, please reach out. And I hope you have the best day. And until next week, go coach them up.